You are now entering Night Storm Nation.
All I have to say is this.
Child abuse.
If you are one of those people
Divorce.
that have been put down all of your life,
Infidelity.
beat up and trapped in a pit of woe,
Depression.
it is time for you to stand up with the Night Storm Nation, because we aren't going anywhere. I'm NYGHTSTORM, the man not afraid to be transparent, as I help real people with real issues. And my co-host is my queen, my stunningly gorgeous wife.
Yep. This is Toby George Nightstorm, the woman not afraid to tell the truth about how things really are. And this is Nightstorm Radio. Radio gone real because we are you.
So Nightstorm Nation, if you're in the ATL, you can call in at 404-355-8699. And to all the Nightstorm Nation members around the country, call in at 1-866-923-2860 and find out more about us on nightstorm.com. And you can also listen to our show from the top radio page from the website. Just remember NYGHTSTORM NotStorm.com and also on Love860.com. What's up, baby?
You could tell you had some good breakfast this morning.
Yeah, you hooked it up, sister.
All right, that's
Thank
right.
you.
Now, you smartphone owners out there, don't forget, you can download the app on either iHeartRadio, Tunein Radio, iRadionow, and take us anywhere you go, anywhere in the world, no matter where you are.
Yeah, so what's on top for the day, baby?
All right, well, we're going to be focusing on our bodies today, Mr. Nightstorm.
Uh-oh, focusing on the body.
That's right. We're going to be discussing holistic medicine as well as how we communicate through body language.
So really?
So let's jump right into our first letter, shall we?
Shall we, ma'am?
It goes, Dear Nightstorms, I've been in the corporate world for many years now, but I just can't seem to get ahead. I find it disheartening that I have trained over a dozen people only to learn that they have been promoted over me.
Uh-oh.
Even some of my peers that were hired close to the same time as me have moved on to bigger and better salaries. I'm always one step behind, and I wish I knew a formula to give me an edge for a change instead of being left behind.
Well, you know, son, we appreciate you who wrote in, Mr. Nightstorm Nation member, and we got an expert on the line. So, Jerry, if you could cue that music so I can introduce her properly, please. Oh, yeah!
As if you weren't hype enough.
If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Here we go. Our first guest is the founder of Life After Branding, LAB for short, which specializes in behavioral change in individuals for commercial results. While traveling worldwide and working for some of the biggest corporations like IBM and Xerox, this savvy, distinguished lady of the United Kingdom has penned a brilliant masterpiece entitled The Future of Body Language, How to Communicate Effectively in Business Through Multimedia, where she gives you an advantage over others in the fast-moving world of technology. So, ladies and gentlemen of Nightstorm Nation, it is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you, straight from across the pond, Miss Carol Railton. Yes! How you doing, Carol?
I'm doing fine. What a wonderful introduction.
And Nightstorm Nation, we are speaking to Carol on Skype. So, how you doing? You all good over there across the pond, ma'am?
Well, we've actually can see the sun today, so I think we are all good. It's been a long time coming.
Okay, now, Carol, I got to do this because my wife be getting on me about my British accent.
Please.
Okay, so since...
Let me apologize ahead of time, Carol.
Okay, I'm gonna try to kick it. So, now, madam...
Oh, goodness.
I'm so happy that you see the sun over there and it's not raining. And we are especially appreciative of you being on our show. Did I do a good job, ma'am?
I'm hiding under the table. I'm hiding under the table. Okay. Now, Carol, normally when you think of body language, you think of telltale signs that can depict when a person is deceitful or anxious, twirling the hair or with your fingers or some kind of way looking down at the floor. So please explain to us your definition of body language, how you got into the whole deal of body language and how it's used in the corporate world.
Right. Okay. I think the thing to say is that the things we learned in the past, folded arms, that sort of thing, can't be taken as a given, because somebody could fold their arms, have their feet on a coffee table, be watching a ball game, drinking a beer perhaps, and be very relaxed, not tense at all. They'd be actually in their own environment at home and enjoying the show. So they won't be restrictive. That same behavior in a different environment could cause problems. If you're the same guy with your feet on the desk in an office and your junior comes in and you've got your arms folded and you're drinking a beer, it's quite threatening. So it's important to know where the body language is happening, your environment, because we change according to our environment. Okay. How did I get into this? Mm-hmm. As you said, I used to work for Xerox. I ran 9 countries in the Middle East for them, and I had an interpreter in each country. But I was learning more from the signals, the body language that the clients were giving me than I was from the interpreters. So I just studied really hard and changed professions and became a behaviorist.
Okay, all right. So I got to ask this. Now, first of all, I know my accent sucked. I know it did. I know it did. All right, so let me ask you this. Now, Carol, is there a difference? Because I think I have a pretty good eye with this stuff, but I'm not an expert like yourself. But is there a difference between men and women's body language?
I think you know the answer to that, and the answer is yes.
Uh-huh.
For instance, women make far more movements than men, and it's proved and validated over and over again. And the problem for your listener that just wrote in, asking about getting promotion and currently being passed over, one of the problems is that people lower down the scale make more movements. So women naturally are seen as lower down the scale, even when they're in a senior position. The natural conclusion would be to stop women making those movements. Where I come in is to change the movements that the women make. I don't think we can adapt women that much, and nor should we. So I'm asking women to become more regal when they make the movement. We have a queen over here, which I think you know, and she's a perfect example of someone who's regal. She moves slowly. All her movements are defined, and you get it, what she's saying, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can take women who are not succeeding and change their behavior to regal behavior, as I call it, you'll find an instantaneous change in the way they're treated by everybody around them. And one of the ways I do that, and that's why I call it regal, and perhaps you could all try this now, is to ask people to imagine they have a crown on their head, a really heavy jeweled crown. And what happens to you when you do that? If you imagine you have this happy crown, your back straightens, your shoulders go down, and you can go forward in a much more regal pose without saying a single word. Your whole body has changed. And as a result, the communication you make, whether verbal or physical, has changed as well. And the reaction and interaction you get is also more positive.
Wow. So you have someone who's been moving in a certain manner all of their lives. It's been accepted. And then all of a sudden they have to be retrained. How long does that process take? And especially with women. I know over here in America, especially with the African-American woman, you're going to get a lot of movement, head, neck, eyes, shoulders.
Well, that's
how do you bring that down? Tone that to the regal.
Everybody's doing it. Yeah, how would you fix that, Carol?
Did you try the crown on your head? It's a very quick way of changing your body. And we all know that the breath is vitally important. Without the breath, we're not alive. So how we breathe is really important. And by just imagining that crown on your head, you're opening up your lungs and your voice changes as well. You know, you guys probably don't need it at all because you're on the radio, got lots of confidence.
Well, thank you.
Other people do. Pardon?
I said, thank you.
I hope so. No, it sounds pretty cool to me. So it is when you ask about timing, it depends on the individual, of course. But just by applying these few tricks, if you will, or using these exercises, you move very quickly. Okay. You know, I can get people on stage who are really frightened of doing presentations just by using a little bit of imagination about who they are when they go on stage. You can even go inside someone's body. If you're very nervous about something, you just imagine that you're the person that can do it well. And somehow or other that works. I can't explain the science of it so well, but especially in the short time we've got. But if you want to do a presentation on stage, if you just imagine someone you know who's an excellent presenter, you just go into their body and just do that presentation as them. It's really simple.
Okay, now let me ask you this, because I want to get deeper into your book. And the book is entitled The Future of Body Language and How to Communicate Effectively in Business Through Multimedia. Now, one of the folks that I really, really love from your country, ma'am, is Jeremy Clarkson. Okay, and I watch that Top Gear show religiously. Okay, and everybody knows who Jeremy Clarkson is. And to me, now, sometimes when he walks around, I mean, he kind of slumps, but when he is speaking and he is presenting, his body language is very, very commanding, where he can command your attention of not only everybody that's in the studio audience, but all the people worldwide watching him. It's his certain body language. So we talked about the young ladies on how they could change things by maybe slowing things down and becoming more regal in order to get more respect. But what about the fellas who are like alpha males, like a Jeremy Clarkson or a NYGHTSTORM, and they may be trying to communicate to others, but not trying to intimidate folks. So like out of your book, how can someone change that type of stuff, ma'am, to become more successful without offending folks?
Okay, that's a good question. What the most important thing you can do in that scenario is to keep both feet on the ground, because what that quite literally does is it grounds you. Yeah, if you have both feet on the ground, you, the presenter or Jeremy Clarkson, are much more stable. And therefore the energy that you give out, the reflection that gets back to the audience is that you're stable. Because it's true, he is a real alpha male. Incidentally, he doesn't normally wear suits. So he's already lightening it up a bit because he's more casual in his attire, which affects his body language. And it also opens people up to talk to them. I mean, if you think about going in a bar, who are you most likely to talk to? Is it someone in a suit or someone who's dressed casually? Again, the environment will dictate that, but in general, you'll talk to the person who's more casually or easily dressed than the one that's stiffly dressed.
Okay. Now, Carol, I'm just intrigued in following every word that you have coming out of your mouth at this time, because I'm like, man. Oh my goodness. And I'm sure that our listeners would want to know more about you. So what is your website, or how can I get in contact with you?
Thank you. Can I give two? There is a page on Facebook that gives body language tips. So anybody can post a question there or look up the tips that have been there before. And that's facebook.com/ and then my name, Carol with an E, Carole, Railton, Railton, online. And that will give free body language tips. And for individuals, if they go to livingsuccess.co.uk, that's probably the best one, and companies to lifeafterbranding.com.
Wow. Okay, now, NYGHTSTORM Nation, I'm going to tell you this because we're up against a hard break, but I have enjoyed Miss Carol Railton talking to us, and especially if she could sit here and break down how Jeremy Clarkson is successful. And if you don't know who Jeremy Clarkson is, you've been living under a rock. But I'll tell you this, ma'am, I appreciate everything that you said, because even me, I've learned some stuff, and I appreciate the stuff that you're also doing, not just in the UK, but you're also helping folks here, and you've been helping people worldwide by traveling and just handing out your message of hope and how folks can literally change their lives in the corporate arena, and with your wonderful book. And I want to make sure everybody knows the future of body language. One more time. The future of body language, how to communicate effectively in business through multimedia. And go to her website, livingsuccess.co.uk. Now, because we got to go, but before I let you go, I want you to judge my British accent one more time. Okay.
That is obviously 100 out of 100.
Yes. I am NYGHTSTORM, and we are going to go on break, and we have had the distinguished pleasure of having Carol Railton. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
You too.
All right, NYGHTSTORM Nation, we are about to go on break. And we just had a wonderful conversation. Did you enjoy that conversation, my queen?
Definitely. Who'd have thought that just the way that females move just tells so much.
Yeah, so we're going to get more into some more deeper stuff and helping you fix a whole bunch of stuff right here on NYGHTSTORM Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station.
You ever been so depressed to where you want to hurt yourself because life has been unkind, unfair, and unforgivable? Folks done hurt you and thrown you away? Yeah, I know, because I was there too, until I read this book by NYGHTSTORM called All Action No Talk. This dude has been there, man. He understands us. He was homeless, abused as a child, abandoned by his dad, and even his oldest son passed away. I'm encouraged, because if this dude can make it, so can I, and so can you. So check it out at NYGHTSTORM.com, NYGHTSTORM, and know that you have the strength to change your life despite adversity, like him, like me, like you.
Hey, you, guy or gal that's listening, are you enjoying the night storms? Good. If you want the 411 on me, YG Night Storm,
and me, Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, visit nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Check out our informative blogs, videos, and see what NYGHTSTORM Nation is doing to benefit the community. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Thanks again for listening to the Night Storms on NYGHTSTORM Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. to noon on Love 860 AM, Atlanta's inspirational station. We are you.
Hi everyone, it's me, Lady Nightstorm, and have I got news for you. Want to know how to keep up with us and what we're doing in the community? It's easy. Just like us on Facebook at NYGHTSTORM Radio. Follow us on Twitter at NYGHTSTORM Radio, and become part of the NYGHTSTORM Nation mailing list at nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM. Keep up with all our promotions, contests, and latest happenings. NYGHTSTORM Radio. We are you.
You are now rocking with the Night Storms on Atlanta's inspirational station, Love 860 AM WAEC. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to NYGHTSTORM Radio. If you would like to call in and be a part of the conversation, you can reach us at 404-355-8699 in the Atlanta area and 866-923-2860 anywhere else.
I think my British accent was good. I know you saying no, Jared gave me 2 thumbs down, but you know I ain't no failure unless I stop trying.
I didn't say,
I'm going to say this. So, NYGHTSTORM Nation, remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Night Storm Radio for future contests, as Jared has his ears covered and my wife is looking at me like I'm crazy. But for promotions, and don't forget that you can also advertise your business or service with us. To send us a message and we can talk about getting your business in front of the people. Yes.
That was a mix. You know how you have Spanglish?
Yeah.
I heard that British Southern
Well, see,
drawl.
y'all can't hate on both of them at the same time. Anyway, we got another Night Storm letter. So, my queen, can I please read the letter, please?
Go ahead, honey.
I don't care if you're shaking your head, Jared. Anyway, I am a new mom, and I have read so many stories about how our overly processed foods and goods are bad for us. I grew up on this stuff like most Americans, but now that I have a baby, I'm more cautious. It seems like everything from our water, meds, and even air we breathe is not healthy. I am looking into holistic remedies and choices over what I grew up on, but I'm afraid it may be a bunch of hype for the moment, like the Atkins diet in the 2000s. Is this holistic stuff really worth it? Really? So thank you. I appreciate that for you writing that letter. And it's a good thing we got an expert on the line. So,
Yes,
Jared,
we
if
do.
you can cue that music, please, so I can introduce her properly.
I want it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm messing up already. The queen is looking at me crazy, but I'm going to go into this introduction.
I want to go.
Will you do it?
Our next guest is the founder and director of the Holistic Moms Network and a leading voice in the natural parenting movement. She spearheaded this organization to develop and support parents and build local communities for holistic living. This dedicated mom of two has been profiled on CBS News New York, Real Moms Real Savvy on PBS, and is dedicated to empowering women and showing the world that living a green, holistic life is just as cool as the other side of the pillow. So, ladies and gentlemen of Night Storm Nation, you lucky listeners of Night Storm Radio, it is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Nancy Mosatto. Woo! What you think about that?
That was nice. Hello, Nancy.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy. How are you today? We're having a little fun up here.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. I'm here. I'm up.
Okay, now, Nancy, I know you heard my British accent. Now, my producer, Jared, has said that I suck. My queen has said that I suck.
We're just going to have to move over there and you can pick it up like Madonna did.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so go ahead, sweetheart.
All righty. So, Dr. Mosatto, why are more parents seeking out holistic therapy and lifestyles?
Well, I think that there's a lot of reasons, but certainly one of them is that we are seeing rising rates of all sorts of challenges for our children in this generation. I mean, we're seeing rising rates of food allergies, seasonal allergies, asthma, ADHD, autism, a lot of crises that, as when we were growing up, at least when I was growing up, didn't seem as prevalent as they are now. And I think the parents are starting to really wonder, what's going on in our environment, in our food, in our household that's creating all of this unhealthy, prevalence among all of our children. And we want to make our children's future as healthy and bright as we possibly can. And I think that's why parenthood kind of becomes the threshold where a lot of people start to live healthier and think healthier.
Okay, and then that's good. And we had the pleasure of, going on your website, ma'am, and looking at all of this wonderful information. And I know there's a lot of folks who may have not, switched over to a holistic lifestyle yet, but they're wondering, is it easy to join a community like that? And even if you, a noob on this health path.
Absolutely. I mean, noobs are totally welcome in holistic life. We are not this radically green, earthy country group. We're a very diverse community. We all start somewhere. It might be that you just want to eat a little healthier, or, you might want to live a little greener. You want to be a little bit more respectful of nature, of the environment. Whatever it is that you want to grow into, you can become part of Holistic Moms. And the community is about support. It's really about getting us back into a place where we're face-to-face, where we're seeing other parents, where we're sharing our challenges, where we're learning from each other. It's not about being perfect. It's not about doing everything right. You know, lots of us have all sorts of unhealthy weaknesses. You know, I'm totally addicted to chocolate. And, you know, what are you going to do? You know, it's what I love. So you don't give it all up. You just try to make the best choices you can for your family each and every day. And that's what it's really about. It's a journey.
You know something? If chocolate was the only sin on the planet, everybody would be sinners.
For the most part.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sweetheart. I had to. That's my weakness, too. That's my kryptonite.
There, you and me both, I'm telling you.
Well, I know I've had some meals, Dr. Mosatto, where I sat back and I was like, oh, my goodness, I need to eat some vegetables tomorrow, do some kind of cleanse, all those ribs and the potato salad. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, you're making me hungry.
So, and everybody knows it's no secret I'm a fan of Ben & Jerry's. I should buy stock.
Stop it.
But when you're sitting there and you're contemplating, how do you go, okay, when people think holistic, they're thinking, oh, I got to eat grass, you know, and wheat germ and all this other stuff. What makes holistic lifestyle different from what we think it's going to be as far as torturous?
It's definitely not torturous. I will tell you that, because it's about, first of all, with diet, you know, there's a million different paths you can take for a healthy diet. You can be vegetarian or vegan. You could be paleo. You could be gluten-free. You could be macrobiotic. I mean, everybody has their perspective on what they think is the healthiest diet. And we don't advocate any particular one except for a diet based in real food. You know, if it's coming out of a box and it's got 20 ingredients you can't pronounce, it's probably not good for you. But if you're going to go, you know, make your own food from real ingredients, you know, take out stuff that, you you grew or, you know, walk the planet or whatever it is, and it's not processed, doesn't have all sorts of artificial ingredients, it's not contaminated with pesticides and chemicals and whatnot, then you're doing a good job. And that's what we focus on is let's get back to real food. Let's get back to the stuff that we can buy from our local farmer, not the stuff that comes, you know, with all sorts of labels and colorful ads on TV. You know, let's get back to the stuff our grandparents used to eat. Let's get back to cooking food that actually, you know, isn't just throwing it in the microwave. And that's going to be a lot healthier for your body than some of this other stuff. You're going to avoid a lot of those scary ingredients like high fructose corn syrup and trans fats and things like that, and get into, you know, cooking. Get in the kitchen. It's fun. Teach your kids how to cook, you know, and you can have ribs. I love ribs.
Yay!
You know, I mean, come on, but you make them yourself, you know. Go buy good quality. If you're going to eat meat, go buy grass-fed meat. Make sure it's not genetically modified, you know. Don't put tons of, you know, artificial anything on it. You know, keep it clean, keep it real, and you'll be doing much better. It's really not about, you know, going completely, you know, like you have to have, you know, I don't know, wheatgrass juice every day.
Okay. All right, so
you know, that might be great for you, but, you know, living healthy could be a little step in the right direction each day.
Okay, all right, so Dr. Mosatto, we finna talk right here. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, now, not last year, but in 2012, I was weighing 340 pounds, and the queen put me on the diet, and she said, sweetheart,
doctor.
And the doctor said, lose weight or die. Okay, that's a real easy choice. Said lose weight or die.
Sleep apnea, yeah.
Yeah, I had sleep apnea. So the queen put me on a diet, and I was on a very rigorous diet of maybe 500 calories a day. Now, of course, I got back in the gym. I'm in the gym 5 days a week now, but I had to work out, and I had to eat much cleaner and much better, and I was able to lose a ton of weight and keep myself healthy, and blood pressure straight. Everything is fine now. But I have to admit that it was a daunting task. And when I think of diets and stuff, that it can be intimidating to people. And what I'm hearing you say is that eating holistic is realistic, okay? It's not like you said, you're not some fringe group that's forcing people by gunpoint saying you got to eat this, you know, wheat germ and you got to eat this tofu or you're out of the club. You're saying if you're going to eat the ribs, you know, then eat the real ribs and don't put all the crazy stuff on there. So when people say, how can they learn more about Holistic Moms Network. Now, is this a place where the average noobs and the average Jane and Joes can come and learn how to eat holistically and also keep it real?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we're all about, keeping it real every single way that we can. And like I said, it's not about perfection, and it is about the long-term perspective. I mean, holistic means looking at the big picture. Real healing doesn't come in a pill, it doesn't come in a bottle, and it doesn't come overnight. Real healing, living healthy, takes exactly what you talked about: time, dedication, persistence. You stick with that healthy diet, you get yourself back in the gym, you have regained your health. That's a huge accomplishment. That's what we're talking about. You can sit there and say, I'll go on this fad diet for 2 weeks, I'll take these pills, and I'll be skinnier. Yeah, you might be skinnier, but you're not going to be any healthier. Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about is the future, and we're talking about the long term. And with our kids, it's about teaching them what to put in their bodies that's healthy, that's going to last them a lifetime. So you're teaching them good habits. You're teaching them these are the kinds of foods that you want to be eating so that over the long term your health continues to be sustained and that you continue to be healthy as an adult, as a teenager, whatever, however old your children are. This is what you teach them. You lay the groundwork. Doesn't mean they're not going to be running off and eating junk food when they're, being rebellious. That's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But you educate them as to, the big picture. I think in our culture, we all want the quick fix, mm-hmm. especially with technology. You click on something. If that web page doesn't come up in 10 seconds, you're getting aggravated, right? We're all like, rush, 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 rush. Health is about, it forces us to slow down. You can't just rush health. You're not going to get over a cold in an hour. No matter how many, over-the-counter prescription, whatever things you take, your body needs to, heal, to rest and recover. So that's what the long-term picture is about. But, yeah, no matter where you are, even if you've never done anything holistic in your life, you can absolutely walk into a local Holistic Moms chapter and learn about the options that are out there. Because there's so many things out there that people are not even aware of that could really help them to regain their health.
And I know definitely when you get online and you start reading about these food additives and these colors and everything that's in there, and we're, medicating our children for ADHD and this, that, and the other, without knowing that you can cut out dairy, wheat, or whatever that could be aggravating the problem. They're finding that foods can stop ADHD as opposed to putting them on Ritalin and things of this nature. So was it a personal experience for you, doctor, that made you get into holistic medicine?
It was really a slow journey for me. I was raised on junk food, too. I was raised on Pop-Tarts and Captain Crunch and, mm-hmm. all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But for me, I was very interested in diet and health, and I started to make the connection. And when I started in college, way back when, I started to eat healthier, I noticed that things like my seasonal allergies, when springtime would hit, when I was eating healthy, they weren't as bad. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And then I started to notice that I didn't have headaches so much anymore, and I didn't have digestive problems. And I started to make all of these connections, like, okay, what I'm putting in my body is affecting my health in a million different ways. And that's where it started to be a journey. And then I started to actually research it, and then parenthood, of course, becomes that moment. When you're expecting a child, all of a sudden you're concerned about everything that goes in your body. You can't eat this, you can't eat that, you don't want to use that. And that's where you start to say, wow, a lot of what I've been doing is not only not healthy for my baby, but it's not healthy for me either. Right. And that becomes a great leap forward for a lot of people. That's where we see a lot of people come into holistic moms and dads, when they are expecting, their first child, and they say, okay, we realize how we've been living is not healthy, and we got to change it now because we got this baby coming, and we got to make the house healthier. Right. And that's where a lot of people come into it, and it becomes a very powerful movement. And then it's just, like I said, it's sort of a snowball effect. You start to learn about one thing, and the next thing you realize is, oh, maybe something else in my life isn't as healthy. So you change your diet, you clean up your diet, and then you start looking at things like your personal care products, your shampoos and your soaps and your toothpaste or whatever. Mm-hmm. Start reading the ingredients and you go, what is that? And is that healthy? And then you start doing some research and you go, wow, propylene glycol, what is that doing in my toothpaste? Should I be putting that in my mouth?
Wait a minute. Hold on. What in the world is that anyway?
Oh, I mean, there's so many ingredients like, sodium lauryl sulfate and propylene glycol that are in your toothpaste that are, used for foaming agents and whatnot. And they tell you that, in very small trace doses, it's perfectly safe for your body. But if you're using these products every single day, multiple times a day, and they're being absorbed into your body, it's, we don't know what the long-term effects are. And a lot of these things have been listed as carcinogens. And they've been linked to all sorts of issues, but we continue to use them believing that these exposures are not going to be dangerous for us. And a number of studies have come out to indicate that we use somewhere around 80 to 100 personal care products, or 80 to 100 chemicals, I should say, in our personal care products on our body that are absorbed into our body and are creating a toxic environment. And so all of these things, and, we can get into cleaning products that you use in your house. And, there's just so many different places where we've introduced unhealthy ingredients into our lives. And so there is a snowball effect. But the thing is, you don't want to get overwhelmed. You don't want to get paralyzed by fear and sit there and go, oh, my gosh, I don't want to move or breathe or do anything because it's all unhealthy, because that's not going to get you anywhere. What you want to do is take a deep breath, connect with Holistic Moms Network or a local community of people who are interested in living healthier, and get some support and get some awareness about some of these things and how you can make slow, long-term changes, because you're not going to change everything overnight, because none of us do. It's about, saying, okay, well, you know what? I've decided that high fructose corn syrup is really unhealthy because it's messing up our bodies, it's contributing to diabetes and obesity, whatever. I'm going to just work on getting that out of my diet and not do anything else, right? And so then you stop buying all the ingredients that have high fructose, or the products that have high fructose corn syrup as an ingredient. You start using natural sweeteners like honey and maple syrup, and get back to, get back to some natural, healthy things. And once you've accomplished that and you're comfortable and like, I don't even need those products anymore, then you can take on your next thing, one thing at a time.
Well, you know something, Dr. Mosatto, you just broke that down so eloquently. I mean, you just gave a wonderful, I want to say like I was in college, a wonderful thesis on why we need to be living healthy. And I want to tell you this also because we have been on the website and we see all kind of stuff here, and we invite folks to go to it and just look up Holistic Moms Network. But we are coming up on a hard break, and we are going to get more deep into this stuff with you on the other end of the break. But also, very, very quickly, when the NYGHTSTORM Nation member wrote in about the Atkins diet, and so many folks are talking about, I could just get on this diet and take this pill, and real quick in like 15 seconds, can you tell folks, is that the way to go, or do they just need to go on and roll with you?
I think they need to go with me and go with real food. Any one diet's going to work out except for a real food diet. We're concentrating on stuff that we actually grow and the animals that we raise for good quality meats and proteins. That's what we need to focus on.
There you go. All right, we are at the break, and we're going to come back, and you are listening to Dr. Nancy Mosatto right here on NYGHTSTORM Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station.
To all event planners, are you worried that your next corporate get-together is going to be boring?
Then invite the NYGHTSTORMs to speak at your next event and electrify your organization as we break down how to grow your business, fix broken relationships, and conquer life challenges.
So make your next event epic. Invite me and the Queen to rock the house with inspirational techniques designed to empower individuals and maximize their true potential.
And thanks for listening to NYGHTSTORM Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational station.
We are you.
This is Toby George NYGHTSTORM, a.k.a. Lady NYGHTSTORM, and I'm known as the woman not afraid to tell the truth about how things really are. And the truth I have to say to you is you should listen to NYGHTSTORM Radio every Thursday from 11 to noon. And you should also like us on Facebook at NYGHTSTORM Radio. Follow us on Twitter at NYGHTSTORM Radio. And join the NYGHTSTORM Nation mailing list on NYGHTSTORM.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Night Storm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. We are you.
This is YG Night Storm. And why should you listen to Night Storm Radio? Because we relate to you or someone you know with topics taken directly from our lives. Every time you tune in, you'll hear a discussion about real subjects that affect real life. Why? Because me and the Queen have been there. So join us right here every Thursday morning from 11 to noon on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. Night Storm Radio. We are you.
Hello, Night Storm Nation. This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I have a question for you. How much are you spending each day on lunch? $6, $7, $10 even? Do you know that for less than what you spend each week on lunch, you can advertise your business or service right here during the show on Night Storm Radio? Why don't you inbox us on Facebook, send us a message on Twitter, or drop us a line at nightstorm.com. Let us show you how you can get your business or service out in front of the people. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Night Storm Radio. We are being informed and hopefully entertaining you with Dr. Mosatto talking about holistic medicine.
Man, Dr. Mosatto, she breaking it down, man.
Everything is poison. Go to her website to get the right stuff.
Okay, now, Doc, I want to ask you this, because we do get feedback from the Night Storm Nation. And when we sent this out and everybody was like, yeah, well, I want to write in and I want to give my thoughts also. And so we compiled a list of top reasons why folks may be apprehensive to a holistic lifestyle. And we wanted to present this to you and let you go on and take your crack at this. Okay, are you ready, ma'am?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. One reason is, and one Night Storm Nation member said, I don't believe in this witch doctor remedies. What you got to say about holistic lifestyles being compared to witch doctor remedies?
You know what? For centuries, our families healed using natural ingredients. You talk to your grandparents. Ask them about what kind of herbs they used to use in their backyard, what kind of home remedies they used to use. So they used to take a little baking soda if they had a stomach ache. What kind of things did they used to do? Drink a little ginger tea. I mean, these time-tested natural healing methods have been around as long as we have. Mm-hmm. And what's, to me, witchcraft is what people are making up in the labs that, have a lot of dangerous side effects. So, it doesn't mean living holistically doesn't mean that modern medicine is evil at all. There's a time and a place for every kind of healing under the sun. So we're all thankful for all of the advances we've made in medicine. However, we also jumped the gun, I think, on a lot of different remedies. So, for example, if somebody gets a cold, and the first thing they'll do is run into their doctor for a prescription. There are not medications, like antibiotics are not required for a cold. Your body can heal through that naturally, and there are a lot of safe, effective remedies that you can use at home that are going to help your body to heal naturally. So it's, there's nothing really kooky about most of natural healing. I mean, here's something I like to use as an example. We don't always know why something works, but sometimes we can show that it does. So, for example, no one can quite explain why prayer seems to work in healing. Mm-hmm. So people will, and they've done scientific studies. They have taken pictures of people who are in the hospital with certain diseases, and they've had one group pray for them and one group not. And for some reason, that person starts to get better faster if they're being prayed for. Mm-hmm. We can't show that in a lab. We can't explain it with our methods of science right now, but we know that it works. So the thing that's interesting is, not everything plugs into the same equation. We can't always say, well, if you do this, this is going to happen, because we can show how that works scientifically. So that's one of those examples where, is it witchcraft if we pray for someone? I don't think so. I think it's sending some great energy and love out to someone. And if it makes them heal, great. And so, we can't, I think it's kind of, I understand people are a little nervous about stuff, but there's a lot of things out there that, we can't necessarily heal otherwise. And quite honestly, a lot of people come into holistic living because they've taken every path that they could that's been advised to them, and it hasn't worked out. And so a lot of people come to holistic moms and say, I have this child and I have this long-term condition and nothing is working. I wonder if there's something else that I'm missing. And interestingly, sometimes they find it in holistic medicine.
Well, I know another reason why people are apprehensive.
Say it right, because this is a good one.
And I've heard this with, just sitting around talking with friends. It's too expensive to buy the stuff that's good for you. Have you been to Whole Foods lately? Like they say Whole Foods mean whole check.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. So I have to say the stuff that's bad for you is more,
It's cheap.
It's okay. I was trying to think of a better word to say than cheap.
It's cheap.
All right. It's more economically.
It's cheap. It's cheap. It's cheap to buy, and it's cheap in your body.
Look.
Yeah, well, that's it. You got it. It's cheap, and it's cheap in your body. And so you're not feeding your body healthy, first of all, and it's going to cost you in medical bills over the long term. So, it's the long-term, short-term perspective that we talked about before. We all like the quick fixes. If we could all, instantly win the lottery and pop a pill to be, skinny and beautiful and everything else, we'd all take it. I don't think anybody would say, no. But in the end, it's not what actually creates health and wellness. And so there are, first of all, a couple different sides of the story. There's also a lot of arguments to be made about how you can live green and healthy on a budget. So one of the examples that's really helpful is, people say, I can't live green and all this crazy, save the earth stuff because it's too expensive, right? Yeah, okay. So when you go to clean your house, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the store and you're going to buy bottles and bottles and bottles of chemicals, right, to clean up your house because it's cheap and it's on the shelf.
Right.
Well, you can go home and you can get a huge box of baking soda, a big thing of distilled white vinegar, get some lemon juice, and you're good to go. You can clean your whole house with something without any chemicals, totally natural that you could buy cheap at, a wholesale store and have cleaning products for a year for next to nothing.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Stop the presses. Yeah. Hold on, sister. Wait a minute. You just said get some baking soda, some vinegar, and some lemon juice. And you can go to town on getting your house spick and span.
Absolutely. Without the chemicals and without any dangerous side effects. They are some of the best ingredients to use for cleaning. You can Google cleaning recipes using white vinegar, and you can use a couple drops of essential oils if you want it to smell like lemon or you want it to smell like pine or whatever it is you want it to smell like. And it will be completely healthy, non-toxic, and it'll do a great job because things like citrus, lemons kill bacteria. With the lemon, the citrus juice will kill bacteria and scrub things clean. You could take a half of a lemon and dip it in a little bit of baking soda and scrub your countertops, and you'll kill germs, and you'll also get a really nice clean out of it. Be careful if you have granite, though. I don't know if it'll work on granite. But it's fabulous for all sorts of different things. And this is a much more affordable way to clean your house. And then when you talk about food, yes, people say you go to Whole Foods, you're going to spend a fortune, and I don't doubt it. But if you go to your farmer's market and you buy some real food, you're not going to spend a fortune. And if you grow your own, you're really not going to spend a fortune. And that's probably the most revolutionary thing that you can do. Grow your own food. And you don't need a big yard. You can have a few containers. You can grow some tomatoes, some herbs, whatever. You'll save a ton of money. If you grow without pesticides, you'll be growing your own organics, and you'll be eating real, local, fresh food. It's going to taste 100 times better than what you're buying at the supermarket that's been shipped halfway across the country.
Well, I know in our neighborhood, the biggest thing with growing your own food is fighting with the deers and the rabbits and everything else that's running around in the backyard. We've had deer trample fences jumping over to get to the tomatoes. So once you figure out how to keep those out, that's great. But we have come on to a part of our segment in our show called the Love Shout-Outs, Dr. Mosatto.
Yes.
And in this area of our show, we get to send some love to our listeners, and we allow our listeners to send love to their loved ones. And we're going to let you get in on this. So
because she's showing a lot of love to us right now and our listeners and helping us with some good stuff.
I get a lemon and scrub the counter. All right.
No, you'll get me to do it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Go ahead, baby.
All right. Our first shout out is from Renee, and she wants her husband, Michael, to know that she loves him and looks forward to coming home soon as she is serving overseas in the Navy.
Yes, and Jason, we got a lot of military folks this time. Jason wants to tell Lisa that he loves her as he is serving bravely in the Marines overseas as well.
All right. Mark and Pamela are celebrating the birth of their 8th child today?
8th child.
Wow. All right, Mark and Pamela, more power to you. Mm-hmm. Pam wants us all to know how much she really loves her husband. I think that's apparent.
Yeah, I mean, because they beat us and we got 7.
I know, and we had to be a blended family to do that.
Yeah, they did it the hard way. Well, sweetheart, and I got Dr. Mosatto on as a witness. I would be remiss if I did not tell the world how much I love, honor, cherish, and relish everything. I'm thinking about food, but relish everything about you, sweetheart. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome. And let me just say I love you, my king, and everything that you do. And I want to send out a special shout out. Because we were in the DMV the other day.
Yes.
And Lord knows how the DMV runs. Had to do an errand for our son. And this wonderful lady by the name of Jennifer Colson walked up because we needed something to be notarized and had no idea. She showed up like an angel and said, hey, I heard you needed a notary. I got it in my car. I can go do it for you. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You mean I ain't got to get back in the line again? So Jennifer Colson at AC Title Services, LLC, thank you so much. And you guys can visit her at AC Title Services LLC at gmail.com. Jennifer Colson, thank you so much for being our DMV angel.
Yes, and Dr. Mosatto, it's your turn. Do you got anybody special you want to send a love shout out to?
I want to send love out to my 2 boys who are at school right now and who I absolutely adore every single day.
All right, cool. And now since Jared dogged me out about my British accent, so Jared, our producer Jared, and my British accent, do you have anyone interesting that you want to send your love shout out to, sir?
Well, I have a wonderful lady that I've been had the great fortune of being with for the past 4 years. Her name is Nikki. Nikki is my significant other. She is a wonderful person. She takes care of me whenever I come home. I can't imagine my life without her.
There you go.
And she is the absolute best.
Yeah.
What? That's some love for you.
You know it?
That's some love for you.
And this lovely track that we're listening to, and all the music is being brought to you by the one, the only, NYGHTSTORM.
Turn that track up a little bit, Jim.
Yes. We absolutely love everything you do. You produce our music. You produce our commercials.
Oh, my God. So much love.
Lord.
Dr. Mosatto, I know you're probably throwing up by now.
Nothing without you. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, anyway, so what we got going on? Okay,
all right, Night Storm Nation listeners, if you want to send love to that special someone on the air, send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, or nightstorm.com. And on Facebook and Twitter, we are Night Storm Radio, or at Night Storm Radio on Twitter, Night Storm, NYGHTSTORM.com, and we will get it going for you.
Yeah, so I want to also say from the Night Storm Nation, Dr. Mosatto, we appreciate the love that you have shown to us, and we love you, ma'am, and we are praying for much, much success for your network, ma'am. So one more time, can you give folks where they need to go to find you?
Absolutely. They can go to holisticmoms.org or give us a call at 877-HOLMOMS for Whole Moms.
There you go. Well, ma'am, thank you very much.
Right.
And you are a Night Storm hero. You continue to do this wonderful, wonderful work of letting folk know that it ain't of the devil to go for holistic reasons, and it ain't witchcraft, and they ain't gonna get burned at the stake like in Salem. So I tell you,
God knows.
And thank you also to our first guest, Miss Carol Railton, calling all the way over here from Britain.
All the way from the UK.
We really, really enjoyed the information you shared. And her book is The Future of Body Language, and she also has another one, A Useful Guide to Personal Branding. And she can be found once again on livingsuccess.co.uk.
All right, it's time for us to go.
It's time to go.
All right, so Night Storm Nation, we will see you again next week, God willing, every Thursday, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Night Storm Radio, on Love 860 AM, WAEC, Atlanta's Inspirational Talk Radio Station.
Oh, my goodness. And why do we do this, YG?
Because we are you. See you next week. I am a British gentleman.
Oh, my